Welcome to the Hunting Beast Report, a live video podcast with Dan Infalt and host Jeremy Gillespie.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Stealth Outdoors. The off-season's a great time to rehab your gear, so head on over to Stealth Outdoors at www.stealthoutdoors.com to pick up some climbing stick wraps, cam buckle covers, platform cable wraps, or stealth strip rolls for all of your miscellaneous silencing needs. Today's show is also made possible by Hunting Beast Gear, innovators in mobile hunting gear and the designers of the Beast Sticks and Beast Stand. Check out the latest products at www.huntingbeastgear.com. And now, on to the podcast. All right, special Sunday evening episode with special guest, Uncle Lou himself. Uncle Lou, how you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me, Jeremy. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Hey.
Dan, how you doing tonight?
I'm alive.
Alive. You got a pretty fancy hat on there. What's going on with that hat?
I don't know. I saw it for sale, and I thought, oh, that's cool. Wear that while I'm bow hunting.
Yeah, you're one of them now, like the Indians used to do, right?
Right. Might be all I wear, but I'll wear it.
So, Dan, you said you did do some hunting recently. Tell us about your hunting adventures.
I went out, Saturday night, yesterday, right? I went out kind of intending to shoot a doe. I really don't kind of have the heart for it. There are a couple of really big older ones out there. I wouldn't mind shooting one of those. But I was going to shoot a doe if one came in, and I had one come in and I didn't shoot it. I just watched it. I just felt bad for it, but kind of didn't help. Neither did my camera froze solid. I don't know what happened with it, but it wouldn't record. It was flashing that it had no card, and it was kind of freezing up. Probably got to tape you go out in that, below zero stuff. I think it was 17 below with the wind chill. You should probably tape a heater to the battery, and I didn't do that.
Yeah.
But regardless, I had fun.
Well, Dan, something popped up on the forum the other day, a pretty interesting article somebody posted about a poaching case out of New York, and we got to talking about it offline and said that might make for a good episode. I don't think a lot of people have covered it yet, so we're going to talk about that. So I don't know if you want to set the stage, what you heard, and then we'll pull up, and while you're doing that,
I think the reason I want to go into this article between us, number one, first of all, I don't do gossip articles. We didn't do nothing about the guy in Ohio because he has not been convicted, and I don't know that he will be. You're innocent until proven guilty. I've had people accuse me of things, and it can look bad, so I won't do that. These guys are convicted. And the reason I want to talk about this is because of the implications and the things that come out of this. What these guys were doing is crazy. I mean, what they're found guilty of is just nuts. I mean, it's going to make everybody rethink what they do online and everything else. But I won't spoil it. I'll let you just go into the article.
Yeah,
Maybe
go ahead.
Break it up when you hit some of the key points, and then we can discuss it.
We don't do a lot of screen sharing, so hopefully this works. Bear with us if it doesn't, but I think it's going to. Oh, it looks like it popped up. So let me scroll here. So this is right off the New York State Government Environmental Conservation Police on Patrol report. So this is what I like to call, original source. This isn't some repost. And right here, duo guilty of elaborate poaching scheme in Erie County. So I'm just going to read some of this, and then we'll get some comments. But it says, 2 hunters pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges for illegally taking 2 large antlered deer in an area closed to deer hunting in the town of Tonawanda. The investigation began November 14th, 2022, when ECO Mathis and the Towanda Police Department received separate calls about 2 suspicious men walking through the woods near the Rain Tree Apartments. A witness who is an avid hunter observed one of the subjects crouching in the woods behind his residence before hearing what he believed to be the snap of a bow discharge and an arrow strike a large 16-point buck that ran into his yard after being shot. The witness then observed a second subject taking pictures of the wounded deer with his cell phone. The subjects fled the area as police arrived, but not before trail cameras photographed them. The photos were posted online, and the subjects were identified as Jason Zorda and Kevin Butler from, I don't know how to say this, Oneonta and Afton. How do you say it, Lou?
I'm going to guess Oneonta.
Oneonta and Afton, respectively. So we'll stop there and let's get some comments for that.
Well, so first of all, they're hunting in backyards of an apartment building, kind of shooting deer that are kind of tame. And honestly, I think that goes on all the time. That isn't that much of a big deal to me. I mean, obviously it's poaching. It's wrong and they shouldn't be doing it. But I think that goes on a lot, and that should be like $1,000 fine. I mean, you're poaching deer. You're shooting tame deer that really don't have the smarts that a wild deer does. So I mean, it's not right.
But Dan, that's not necessarily poaching if the area is open to hunting, right? I mean, some
Correct.
of these
Correct.
urban
I don't believe this is open to hunting, and I might be wrong.
Okay, then it's poaching.
Right.
Yeah. So here, we'll read a little more of the article here. It says, DEC Bureau of Environmental Crimes investigators interviewed Zorda and Butler. Both denied hunting deer in Tonawanda. DEC's Division of Law Enforcement then applied for search warrants for the hunters' residences. Officers from Regions 4, 7, and 9 executed the search warrants simultaneously and seized cell phones, hunting equipment, and the clothes the hunters wore on the date of the incident. A review of cell phone records uncovered a larger scheme, and this is the crazy part, where the subjects conspired with a network of poachers using hunting and wildlife photography posts on social media to target large bucks in suburban and urban areas closed to hunting. Warrants revealed that Zorda had a fictitious Facebook profile in which he posed as a female wildlife photographer. He would use this profile to contact other photographers to learn the exact locations of mature urban bucks so that he could illegally hunt them. Zorda and Butler would hide compact bows in backpacks, and they would conceal their arrows in hollow walking sticks to look like hikers to any witnesses.
Yeah, that's where it gets crazy. Now, if you guys weren't listening to that real fast, because it was going kind of fast, I mean, these guys set up a profile of a female photographer online, and we're using that to trick people into telling them where big bucks were in parks and stuff to take pictures of. When really this female didn't exist. This good-looking woman that you're talking to was really some dude. Kind of like you would imagine with if you're eliciting porn online, you're probably talking to some fat, hairy man while you're looking at a hot chick, right?
Yeah.
So they were doing the same thing, only to steal deer. And not only that, but does it say it in there? I don't know if that says it, but somewhere I read that they were also using the pictures, getting the GPS information off the pictures on different hunting sites on Facebook and stuff, and were able to tell where the pictures were taken from trail cam pictures. So these guys were doing this elaborate thing with multiple people. These are the two that got busted, but there's a whole chain of these people working online to steal deer and to find where these deer were and to move into people's backyards and parks and places where photographers go. This is kind of crazy because it starts making you think about what you post online, what you share, and who you're sharing with. You got any thoughts on this, Lou?
I just pulled up, well, you were talking and you told me about this last night. I have not been following the story, but I pulled up Tonawanda because actually I was just in New York. I just returned today. And I thought Tonawanda was near Buffalo, and it is. It's on the north suburbs of the Buffalo area, just to put it in, give everybody a location. Gosh, no, I don't have thoughts yet. I'm going to listen to you, and then I may have some thoughts. This is crazy.
What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, I think unfortunately this thing, maybe not this elaborate of scheme, but the poaching stuff goes on more than a lot of people want to admit, and it's a shame because to me, a poacher is the same as a thief, right? You're stealing opportunity you're stealing opportunity if you're doing that stuff from somebody that's paid a license fee, that's agreed to follow the rules that are out there, and maybe we don't always agree with the rules, but as ethical sportsmen, we follow them. And it's just, I don't know, if this stuff grosses me out personally. There was just a couple big poaching cases in Montana where one of them, some kid shot like 6 bulls and left them all to rot, and it's like, what are you doing? I don't know. I don't have a lot of respect for those type of people.
A poacher and a trespasser is not a hunter. It's a thief. You're right, Jeremy.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hate when, so Lou, that makes me think of something I wanted to mention on this episode. I hate when these incidents get published and they say a hunter did this or a hunter did that.
Exactly.
I wish they would just always say a poacher or whatever. This lowlife did
criminal.
This.
It's not like a shopper went in the store and shopped a candy bar without paying for it. He stole it. That's a thief. They don't call that a shopper.
Yeah, exactly.
But they do that in hunting because most of the people behind that are not hunters and dislike hunting. So they think that's all hunters that do that stuff, and they caught one,
Yeah.
Right.
It's just horrible. The whole thing is horrible. It gives us all a black eye when people do this kind of thing.
And it shouldn't, and that's what we're kind of talking about, right? To help, and probably the audience doesn't need it differentiated, but it does need differentiated. It needs to be beat to death. That we had a situation happen in the local county park just north of me, and somebody hinge cut a bunch of trees. You're not allowed to do that. And so I brought the park person out, and I told him to bring boots, and he did, and it was funny. And I took him through some water, and we got out there, and I showed him all this, and I said, do me a favor, when this hits the press or investigators or whatever, do not call these people hunters, whoever did this public damage to these, and nothing ever came of it. I found an area where we hunt, and they hinge cut all these trees, and it looked like they had those little what do you call it, that people carry for like survival and stuff to cut a tree down, those little zipper threads, and they cut all these trees down, and they hinge cut them all, just waiting for kind of the wind to finish blowing them off. And I think they were doing it for like bedding or something. It was a bedding island. It was stupid, but I'm kind of getting off topic. But I begged the park administrator to not call these people hunters, because they're not.
Yeah. Well, real quick, before we get any more comments, there's only one paragraph left, so I want to finish it up. Just Dan, you already alluded to it, but this case is closed. So it says Butler and Zorda both pleaded guilty to misdemeanor charges for illegally taking white-tailed deer. They paid $1,075 in fines and surcharges and had their hunting licenses revoked for 5 years. DEC thanks the town and the city of Tonawanda police departments and the Erie County District Attorney's Office for assisting with the case. Other individuals were implicated in the warrants and charges are pending. So those two have already been convicted. Sounds like maybe there's some more charges coming out of that. And Dan, offline, we were talking about this a little bit. Give me your thoughts on the fines. So they got $1,000 or $1,075 in fines and 5 years revoked licenses.
So if I went and hunted in New York this weekend and went to do a hunt in New York, I would expect it to cost me about $2,000. These guys didn't even paying for their hunt. I mean,
yeah,
$1,000. I mean, there was a time when $1,000 was a lot, and I am not one of these guys that thinks poachers should get a $50,000 or $75,000 and based on their antler size. I think a doe needs as much credit as a big buck. Now, if you think that they should get $75,000 fines, I'm okay with that, but it should be $75,000 across the board, no matter what they poached. And killing an animal illegally is killing an animal illegally. It shouldn't have nothing to do with the horn size. But these guys got off with $1,075 for a few different deer, and one of them was a 16-point buck. And in retrospect, the Alexander buck, now he hasn't been charged with anything, but they're already saying they're going to charge him over $50,000 if they find him guilty, and they're charging him with not having written permission to be on land that he had permission on. That's to charge him.
His sister's, you had mentioned to me, right? His sister's land?
Yeah,
so
something like that. Now, he may have or may not have done something wrong. But that is what they're charging him with. They're charging him with not having written permission on land that he has permission on. And they're saying that if they find him guilty, they're going to charge him $50,000. Versus this guy that set up elaborate schemes with whole huge groups to find out information on people like me and you, to find out where we're hunting, to track down our trail camera pictures, using elaborate computer systems to figure out where pictures were taken, to to work into groups for photography and animal lover sites, to find where they're taking pictures of animals and stuff, to work into photography sites, and to use fictitious hot female actor kind of pictures, somebody else's pictures they stole, to set up profiles to trick people into. Those people are getting $1,000 fine when somebody that may or may not have gotten written permission is going to get $50,000. There's an Amish guy in Ohio that he got charged and he got convicted for shooting a big buck. It was $28,000 they charged him and 5 years in prison. A lot of these cases are getting like 5 years in prison. These guys are getting off with nothing. Why? I mean, what Democratic politician are they related to? That's what
real quick, Lou, scoot a little closer to your computer. It sounds like your audio is going in and out a little bit for people watching. So get a little closer to the mic.
I wasn't saying much. Can you hear me better?
Hopefully. We'll see. I can hear you fine, but we were getting some Lou's audio is going out. So just stick a little closer.
Oh, I was hanging back. I mean, Dan just referenced this stuff, and I'm always happy to be on. I don't know. I mean, when I looked at the fines and Dan started, I was going to jump in before he said that. And I said, those fines seem a little light for something so elaborate, right? And then you brought in the other fines and all that. I mean, it does seem light, doesn't it?
Right. It does. It does.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, there should be animal restitution and all kinds of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that people should get $20,000, but I mean, I would think, for me, I think any poaching case should be, you guys out there sneaking in backyards and trespassing and stealing deer, shooting them without a tag, and particularly hunting for an animal. Not necessarily he had an opportunity and he was like doe hunting and couldn't help himself, but somebody's out elaborately trying to sneak a deer from us. They should probably get about a $5,000 fine and they should spend a little jail time. I think you get into 75,000, 50,000 and stuff. And, I've heard of cases up over $100,000 for poaching. Now, usually they're pretty severe cases, but I think those are a little ridiculous. But in the same token, $1,000 is pretty ridiculous. I mean, that's less than a week's pay for most people.
It's kind of a slap on the wrist, and it didn't really say. And I was looking at that, and I was just checking my microphone, see if I could turn it up. So pardon me, but it didn't say if it was 1,075 total or 1,075 each. It just said 1,075. Could you imagine if those two split that?
Yeah, I mean, I have to think one of them's got an uncle named Joe Biden. Just saying.
I went turkey hunting in New York this year, and I'm trying to remember. It was reasonable. It really was a reasonable tag. And then I was hoping to go back out deer hunting. I went out during deer season, but I did not get an opportunity to hunt. I thought it was like $130. They have kind of like Michigan has like a base license, and then you can buy your individual tags. But but what you referenced, Dan, if you went out there, with travel and lodging and whatever. I mean, yeah, you're going to spend $500 to $1,000 real easy on an out-of-state hunt, and they didn't even get fined that. So that's kind of crazy.
Simple trip up to the UP for a weekend. I spent $1,000 easy.
Yeah, I believe it.
I think I dropped $5,000 on Nebraska when I bought lunches and everything we did. And I mean, it's a slap on the wrist. I mean, those guys would easily spend $1,000 to trick people into finding out where these bucks are. And that's okay. It's just $1,000 fine if they shoot one. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. I mean, these people went, in my opinion, this was way more elaborate and way more detailed into actually targeting hunters than all these other poachers. And that, to me, I mean, that hits deep. They're targeting us. They're not just targeting deer. They're not just stealing a deer thinking, oh, yeah, I'll just go back and shoot an extra deer. They're not some redneck. These are elaborate criminals. This is like the mafia of poachers, in my opinion. This is an elaborate scheme, and to get $1,000 fine, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the taking the hunting privileges away either, because obviously these guys don't care about having the privileges in the first place and following the rules. So that's just my personal take. I would like to see
5 years that they lost them, or
5 years.
Yeah. A lot of these other people lost them for life for shooting one buck, one deer. It's crazy.
So what were they doing with these deer? Are they then posting like hero pics? Does anybody know?
I think they're hanging them on the wall saying they're great or something,
And so you think that was it, not running out on the internet, look what I got, but it sounded like it was in a non-hunting area as well. So it's kind of tough. At some point in time, the walls are gonna close in, aren't they? I mean, you're going out in areas that are non-hunting, and if it is allowed to hunt, they're loosening up regs in a lot of suburban areas because there's some huge bucks, and it's kind of cool. There's some people doing it too on YouTube, right, where they do a lot of suburban hunting. But I mean,
if you want to kill huge bucks that bad, go to a game farm. Pay for it.
Real quick, Tommy Fisher, one of the guys tuned into live here, he says he lives in New York. Tonawanda is a suburb of Buffalo, like Lou mentioned. He says you can't hunt the majority of that county, and it's only shotgun in the few areas that you can. And he says I'm assuming he means one of the poachers, is from Oneonta. I still don't know how to say that. And that's like 5 hours east. So he drove a long way to hunt that area, probably
he
from
figured that out online.
Yeah, from the photography stuff. So that was pretty interesting information that Tommy had there. So thanks for that.
While I'm saying this, why don't you look for the picture, Jeremy, of the hunter posing with the deer that they used to convict him?
Yeah.
I know it's on there somewhere. But if you look at this picture, the guy is not dressed as a hunter. He's dressed in flannel. He's dressed like he's out for a walk. And
kind of like you.
Yeah, kind of like me. The reason. I mean, I'm trying to fool people because I want them to think I'm just out walking. But he's doing the same thing to fool people because he's poaching. Because he's sneaking his equipment in there. He's sneaking it. They said that he was sneaking his arrows in a walking stick. Like he's got a limp and he's got a walking stick.
Wow.
Because that's where he's got his arrows. And he's got his bow taken down. He bought a special bow he could take down and put in a backpack and put together real quick. That's crazy.
You think it was a traditional bow? Now that you say that, not that it matters, but
I don't know.
I think at least the guy was shooting trad. I mean, man.
Is it in the picture?
Gives him that much.
Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to pull it up here.
I mean, if it was a trad bow and he shot it at 40 yards, I mean, I think we should pay his fine.
Well, I think actually, if it's a trad bow, we should just all start hating trad hunters now.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, he probably had a saddle. It was probably a saddle.
Oh my gosh. Hang on. I think my wife's calling me. I gotta go.
Dan, I said, Dan, you're gonna be in trouble for that one for sure.
Yeah. It's just kidding. Come on.
That
not all trad hunters and not all saddle hunters are bad. There's one or two good ones.
Oh. So, Jeremy, what other topics you got tonight?
Yeah, Dan got us all in trouble now.
Yeah, sorry. I'm all about trouble. You want me to try to find a picture and hold it up?
Yeah,
I found where Tonawanda was. I thought I knew where it was because I did a job out in Buffalo back in 2017 or 18, and it sounded familiar. It was funny because we were doing a project for the railroad back in my coatings business, and when we would come into the railroad area, we'd ride along some railroad tracks. Imagine that, coming into the rail yard. Wow, was that it?
Oh, I found it now, Dan. Here, I think. There we go. Took me a minute. Yeah, I got it now.
There you go.
We didn't see any deer this nice. That is a nice.
Yeah, it doesn't show the bow, but he's just dressed like he's a hiker.
I think there might be one later. Here's the one later in the article.
There's his walking stick that he's got the arrows in.
That's the other guy, I'm pretty sure.
Backpack. That's the other guy, I think. That's the fat guy.
Yeah.
Apparently
the arrows were inside this walking stick, and then I wonder if he had one of those. Dan, you ever see those? They're called gear something, but it's like a double riser, super compact bow. I wonder if he had something like that or a crossbow. I mean, you'd have to have something pretty small to fit it in a backpack.
Yeah, they do make some pretty small stuff.
Oh, I forget what that one bow was, and I mean that thing axle to axle. I'm trying to get my hands on the screen.
Yeah, Josh had one of those. It's a
gearhead or something is what it's called.
Yeah. And there's some really compact crossbows, but these guys probably don't stoop to the crossbow level.
No, right? They would never do that. I mean, then you'd really put them in prison. then they'd get a 50-year sentence, and $8,000 and $80,000 in fines.
Phew. Glad these guys weren't crossbow hunters. Holy cow.
Crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that they'd even you think if they were going to do something like that, they'd keep it to themselves, not have some elaborate group. You think somebody in that group would narc them out.
How did they get caught?
They got caught because of trail cam pictures. 2 people called 911.
That's right.
Some people saw them walking through there and they looked suspicious. And then somebody saw them crouching, sneaking on a deer, heard them shoot, and then was able to see them posing for pictures with the deer. And both of those people the same day called 911. They're probably getting sloppy because they were getting away with it. And they were thinking nobody will ever catch us. And when they fled, they went past the trail camera and they got their picture taken. So the DNR put their pictures out there. And when they did that, asking for information, people recognized them, called in. And then they caught them. And then they still denied it and said, that ain't me on the picture. Prove it. So they proved it. They did a raid on both of their houses with search warrants, which in Wisconsin, you don't need a search warrant. Apparently in New York, you do. But in Wisconsin, game wardens don't need a search warrant. They can just walk in your house anytime. But they went in with search warrants simultaneously and got their cell phones because they knew from this one witness that they took pictures of the deer. And then they got the clothes. They found the clothes they were wearing when they went past the cell cams or the trail cameras. And they were able to confiscate the stick that had the arrows in it and all that kind of crap. And then they were able to have so much overwhelming evidence that they confessed. Not to mention, it says that they found an elaborate group. So there's a lot more suspects. And we'll see if they even charge them if they're only charging these guys that were the ringleaders $1,000.
The fine sure doesn't seem to be a deterrent.
I tell you, in Wisconsin, if you shot if you went out right now, like me, I don't have a buck tag, and I go out and I had a doe come in last night. I didn't shoot it because I felt sorry for it. But say I shot it. I have doe tags only. Say I shoot that thing. I get over to it, and it's got a 3-inch spike on one side. I turn myself in. I would expect to get more than $1,000 fine in Wisconsin for making an accident, for making a mistake because it was behind an ear or something. I would expect to pay more than $1,000 in Wisconsin for doing that.
Wow,
for sure. And you got to be careful. And I would say, I'm sorry. I admit it. You'd call yourself in. You turn it in, and you take your punishment because you made a mistake. But you better believe they're going to get their money out of you. You're going to pay, and it's going to go on your record. But these guys equivalently got the fine that I would get for shooting a deer on mistake on an accident for an elaborate, like mafia style poaching ring. They get $1,000 fine. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, needs to be a little higher to discourage people to do that, or whether that's with a higher fine or, I'm with you, Dan. I don't want to see people going away for 10 years and $100,000 fines, but something that's going to deter the average guy a little more.
You know what I would do? If I was the judge in that, I think the guys should pay a $5,000 each fine, and they should have to go and like do something like no hunting privileges for 5 years and make them clean up the property, like pick up all the garbage every year for the week of gun season for that 5 years. I think that would be an adequate punishment.
Yeah.
Something that made them reminded of it and be embarrassed, like make them wear the orange jumpsuit while they do it, while a guard watches them. And everybody that in that neighborhood where they stole that deer can see that. Because whether that deer was being hunted or not, it's still stolen. It's stolen from the people that were watching it out their windows, that had it come into their bird feeders, that were taking pictures of it and enjoying it. It's still a stolen deer.
Yeah.
Deer hunting has become big business, has it not? And the videos of deer and the hero picks, and it has caused some individuals that, through the years to make poor decisions, right? I mean, we've all heard stories of people that have got caught up in it. Like, it's their quest. They have the pressure to do this, but this is so far beyond that, right? I mean, this is, what's the word? This is, it's not even sinister. It's just it's so low, isn't it? To like go trick people and find locations and then go in there and I mean the word will pop in my head in a bit, but it's sinister in the right word, but it's these aren't hunters. I just want to say these are not hunters. I mean,
the good part is this went on a lot more when I was younger. People got away with it a lot more. Nowadays, they catch these people eventually. And the sole reason is there's a million trail cameras out there. Even in an area like this where it's no hunting, people want to see the deer. They want pictures. They want to put cameras out to get pictures. They want cameras in their yard for security. I mean, if somebody snuck into my yard, I'd have a million pictures of my cameras all over the place. And they're everywhere. So you can't really trespass. You can't really go places you don't want. You can't really do things you don't want to do because you're going to get caught on camera. I mean, when you look at these people, it looked like they had hats down, pulled low. They had dark glasses on and stuff. And they probably figured they could claim it wasn't them or something. But those cameras will catch you eventually. And a lot of the cell cams are so instantaneously, somebody will see you dragging that deer while you're dragging it out, even if it's in the middle of the darkness or night. So these people are getting caught. And they're getting caught routinely. You can only get away with something like this for so long. And I'm surprised we got to the point of this elaborate without them getting caught.
Yeah, that is amazing. And then you got social media on top of it where people are posting pictures and the internet, forums. I mean, social media has just been on steroids the last 10, 15 years, right? It used to be forums, and you're going to get busted on forums and trail cam. Now there's cell cams. And
well, you saw that where I had that card stolen on my trail camera.
Yeah.
I got a picture of the guy stole it, who I believe stole it. I got to watch how I say things. I posted that picture in a video, and I must have got 50 different people told me who he was. I mean, we've got the power of the internet, the power of YouTube. I mean, somebody does something wrong, we catch them. I mean, I would encourage anybody that gets a picture of somebody doing something illegal on their property or something, if they don't know who it is, to just post it. You'll find out real quick.
Hey, Dan, sounds like we're having some audio issues, and I would imagine it's on my end. So the way my internet service is provided, I have like a local tower that beams it because I'm in the semi-rural area. It's Sunday night, and I think with football on, my connection's buffering pretty bad. So we're getting a lot of complaints about the audio. So I don't know if you want to jump into some Q&A on this. I mean, we covered the topic, but
sure.
Sounds like the audio is coming across pretty bad. So if anybody's got any questions,
really sounds good on my end.
Yeah, it sounds good for us, but I think it's buffering to the stream.
Okay.
And questions for Dan or questions for Lou, they don't have to be related to this case, but we'll go ahead and see what we have for questions. And give us 1 second here. I'm going to scroll back to the top of the comments and see if we had any early on.
Oh, I haven't been on yours yet. Usually I can see all the questions in the live chat on the side. Now I just see us. Is there anything I can hit where I can read questions too? Or no?
You'd have to open up a window to view the stream, Lou.
I might do that.
Okay. Let's see. Dan, Joel Christoph said, this is kind of off subject. Sorry, but a friend and I are interested in your February class and would like to know how we would go about getting signed up.
You have to email me. I have a couple classes open on a Saturday only because I had one group cancel. And the Sunday I got a bunch of openings, but that's it. There's none in March. March is packed as of now. Unless somebody cancels, I just sent out that everybody had to confirm. So it's a lot of times when I get confirms, I get a couple people that drop out. But send me an email at thehuntingbeast@aol.com. If you want to just put that in the comments, Jeremy.
Okay.
That email address. And put in the title workshop. So I see it. And I'm going by every time I look at the emails, I go from the bottom up. So the first people that email me get the first choice. So if you definitely want one of the two dates, which is February, 3rd and 4th, I think, or is it 2nd and 3rd? February 3rd and 4th, Saturday and Sunday. If you want one of those dates, put that in there and say I want it. because if you got to go back and forth, a lot of times it'll be gone before you get back to me. I think the Sunday I probably won't fill up completely, but the Saturday will for sure.
And then Lou, we got a question from Jay Bizzle. Says, Lou, is there anything new under your sleeve for this year?
No,
Or
nothing.
Okay.
No, there's a lot going on. I was trying to find the feed. So I every time I watch the show, I have the side and I can kind of keep up with it. We're going to bring a couple new patterns out. We're working on a couple of projects that are not stealth strip related with the company and yeah, we'll announce some stuff real soon. We need a little bit more time. We just went to the ATA and everybody said, well, what are you doing here? You don't have anything new out here. And I'm like, well, wholesale's new. And so we're going to keep popping patterns and we're going to do a couple other things that you guys haven't seen. And it'll all come, it'll kind of be obvious here in short term. So, sorry that I'm so vague, but yeah, we're working on a couple of things we just not going to announce tonight.
Hey, I got a question. I got a question for Jeremy.
Go ahead.
Have you been out shed hunting? Have you found anything cool?
I got a couple on my wall, but those are old ones. I haven't been out this year.
I might have inside information. I want to see something that I heard you found.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was showing before we jumped online. I was showing Dan Lou my prized elk shed, so I'll pop that up here real quick.
Just found that, eh?
No, that's I found that a little while ago.
Oh, I'm just seeing it now.
Yeah, first time, but no, that was actually since I moved to Montana, it's night and day difference. In Michigan, I think in 5 or 6 years of shed hunting, I found 8 or 10 sheds, and in 5 years in Montana, I've probably found 150 or 200. But that was actually the second shed I ever found, and to date, still by quite a bit my largest one. That one's 160 inch as a single shed, so like a 360 bull.
Nice.
What do you got going on in the background there? You usually have deer heads. Now you got sheds hanging.
Yeah, I had the deer heads in here because we had our Christmas stuff out in the living room, and that was taking up some of my typical deer hanging spots. So I just threw some sheds on there, a couple of mat sets that I found, and I don't know, a couple singles in there, but I got a bunch out in the kitchen and stuff too.
Shauna's still kicking your ass and finding sheds?
She does good. I mean, she's found maybe not quite as many as me because I've been out a little more, but she's real good at finding the big ones. So she's got a couple 70-inch mule deer sheds now and a couple like 60s whitetails, real nice ones. So she's good. And we've traveled a little bit. So we went to Wyoming 2 years ago, and she found a match set off of both, like a nice 5x5. So she's had pretty good luck with that. It's getting to be that time here. A little early for elk, but it won't be long. And we'll be out looking for deer antlers. Let's see. Let me see what else we got in here. Someone said, are either one of you going to the Pennsylvania Outdoor Show? They would love to see a beast stand in person. So that was Tyler Moen.
Not me.
I actually drove out there last year for the first time, and that's an incredible show. Have either of you two ever been to that show out in Harrisburg? He's talking about the Harrisburg show, right? Which is now run by the NRA.
I think so. It's Great American Outdoor Show.
Great American Outdoor Show. So the NRA took that.
It's so long.
It is. It's 9 days, and I always said I can only talk for about 3 days, and I lose my voice. And then we would, for years, we would do something for Super Bowl, and it always ended right then. So I would never do it. But I went out last year just to visit it. So I will not be there this year. What an incredible show, though. If you all get a chance to go out there, you should see it if you've never seen it. I don't even know how to describe it. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, we pulled in on we drove on Monday. We pulled in, spent the night, pulled in on Tuesday. The lines coming out of that place just to get in are like an hour or so. And you get in there. I've never seen a place so huge in my life. It's like something to do with the farm complex or something in Harrisburg. It's just incredible. It's worth the drive. I don't care if you got to drive 8-10 hours. People should go see it.
No, it sounds like a good show. I've never been to that one. The only ones I've ever been to are ones in Michigan. Then There's one or two here locally in Billings that I've went to, but obviously I'm not driving all the way to Pennsylvania from Montana. But they don't want to see me anyways. They want to see you guys and your products.
And I won't be there, but what an incredible show that is. I don't think I could ever do it. It's just 9 days. We're too small. I mean, I'd have to be there for 9 days. Like all the companies that I saw there, they would like have guys rotate. So they've got, if you can make it 3-4 days, then they'll refresh the crew. So you got to be a 5-10 person company. There's just 3-4 of us here.
Well, that's
Any other questions?
Yeah, we got one more. Devin says, Dan, have you ever had any strange experiences that stand out to you while hunting state land in the past years?
I have lots of them.
You're the magnet for strange experiences, aren't you?
Yeah. I can remember one time setting up in the morning and having somebody there was no trucks around the whole public property. It was a weekday, and I went in, and I get way back in, and I'm on this point, and I get in there in the dark and slide up a tree. When it gets daylight, somebody comes out of some bushes with a rifle, and it's not rifle season, it's bow season, and he's trying to sneak past me in plain view. And he's actually like walking towards me and trying to hide behind trees, stopping behind trees. And I see this guy. I'm like, I had a weird feeling like he's going to shoot me or something. Why is he, creeping around like that? And then he got past me. I snuck down and I left. And I beelined it straight out of there. And I know I beat the guy out. And there was no cars or trucks or anything. So I don't know where he hit his vehicle or whatever. But that was obviously some sort of poacher or something. That was one of them. One of them was... I found a dead ram, probably somebody's pet or something, way, way back and miles into a cattail marsh in the cattails. I found the carcass, the skeleton. I actually took the skull. I got it laying around here someplace. I don't know where it's at, but kind of weird.
I know the question wasn't asked of me, but I had two things happen to me that I can get to real quick. One, I had I think it was a female, but it was during gun season in Highland Rec area. You know where Highland is, right, Jeremy?
Yep.
Just south of Holly here. And I think it was a female jogging through the woods on the trails during gun